A diplomatic earthquake has hit the Middle East. The UK, Canada, and Australia have officially recognized a Palestinian state. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has responded with fierce defiance, calling the move a direct threat to Israel's security and vowing decisive action. Netanyahu frames the recognition as a reward for terrorism, promising to fight back on all diplomatic fronts. The United States, under President Trump, has thrown its full support behind Netanyahu, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio criticizing the Western nation's decision. Netanyahu will finalize Israel's response after a high-stakes meeting with Trump, signaling a coordinated strategy. This recognition marks a dramatic break from decades of policy, setting the stage for heightened confrontation and uncertainty in the region. The world now watches as alliances shift, and the possibility of peace grows ever more distant. Netanyahu's opposition to a Palestinian state is rooted in the belief that it would endanger Israel's existence. He argues that a sovereign Palestine would become a base for hostile forces, citing the rise of Hamas in Gaza after Israel's withdrawal as a warning. Netanyahu's right-wing coalition, dependent on nationalist and religious parties, sees the West Bank as the heartland of the Jewish people, non-negotiable. For them, international recognition of Palestine ignores Israel's security needs and rewards a leadership they accuse of inciting violence. Netanyahu insists peace can only come from direct negotiations, not outside pressure or unilateral moves. This fundamental disagreement over security and legitimacy fuels Israel's uncompromising rejection of the recent recognitions. The divide over preconditions for peace remains as deep as ever. The recognition of Palestine by key Western allies has left Israel more isolated than ever. Critics inside Israel blame Netanyahu's hardline policies for triggering the crisis and alienating allies. Opposition leader Yair Lapid calls it the worst diplomatic disaster in Israel's history, while others warn that aggressive rhetoric may not translate into real action. Some experts predict only token annexation, suggesting the government is posturing for its base rather than pursuing a clear strategy. Netanyahu faces pressure from both his far-right coalition and a divided public, with many fearing increased isolation and instability. The debate now extends beyond the Palestinian issue, raising questions about Israel's future as a democratic state and its place in the world. The country stands at a crossroads, torn between confrontation and compromise. In response, Netanyahu's government is doubling down on settlement expansion in the West Bank, defying international calls to halt construction. Far-right ministers like Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir are pushing for full annexation and the dismantling of the Palestinian Authority. These moves would end any hope for a two-state solution and invite global condemnation. The coalition's hardliners see this as a chance to assert permanent Israeli control, regardless of international opinion. Each new settlement deepens the divide, fueling a cycle of pressure and defiance. Israel's actions risk further isolation and a permanent rupture with its traditional allies. The region now faces a pivotal choice: revive the two-state solution or entrench permanent conflict. Western nations hope recognition will spark negotiations and de-escalate violence, but Israel's government, backed by the US, is moving in the opposite direction. Netanyahu's pledge to expand settlements and talk of annexation signal a path toward lasting confrontation. The upcoming Trump-Netanyahu meeting could escalate the crisis or offer a slim chance for restraint. The world is split. Some see two states as the only path to peace, while Israel's leaders view it as an existential threat. Inside Israel, the debate is fierce, between those warning of disaster and those demanding bold action. The decisions made now will shape the region's future for years to come.